What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video recapping the biggest news of Jets land from today, October 11th. Excited to hop into this one. Some good news to get us started. DJ Reed is back. He was practicing today. It was only a walkthrough for the New York Jets today.
All right, good morning. Injury-wise, Bodden, he's dealing with a calf, similar to Sam McGuavin from a week ago. We're just trying to monitor him throughout the week, but he won't be a participant. Hardy and Eccles are both dealing with their hamstrings. They won't be a participant today. Trying to work them back in for game day, and then everyone else will be in practice.
Bodden, Eccles, and Hardy did not practice today. Something to keep an eye on there. Hardy, special teams ace. Eccles is cornerback 4, who was out last week, and Bryce Hall stepped in and did pretty solid, actually. I know he was a part of the play on the 2-point conversion, which was a little frustrating, but he picked up the ball and ran in for a touchdown. So that's a win. He was a big part of the scoop and score. And Nick Bodden, obviously, is the fullback, and maybe Jeremy Ruckert gets that role if he is unable to go, but we'll see on all 3 of those guys. Robert Saleh was asked about Mecole Hardman, and he said that he is in the building, and for now it's up to the coaches to get him the ball. But he did reference Xavier Gipson as a big reason for why he hasn't gotten a ton of action, which is kind of obvious, right? Like, that is definitely one of the big reasons I think that Mecole Hardman hasn't been utilized a ton. We know how much they featured Randall Cobb early in the year, and they're still featuring Randall Cobb more than they are Mecole Hardman. But what they've started to do the last few weeks, specifically the last 2, is that it's been pretty much a split between Cobb and Xavier Gipson, and Xavier Gipson's getting even more run. And I think we're going to see as the year goes on that to continue to trend to be the way. Right now it started out as Cobb way up here. Gipson wasn't playing any offensive snaps, and it's started to even out. And I think eventually we see Xavier Gipson get more snaps than Randall Cobb, and he's an explosive player. They really like using him in that gadget role. They'll motion him behind the line of scrimmage and just get him moving, and the threat of him with the ball in his hands is enough to make a defense pause or make a defense worry. So that's a big reason why. Again, I talked about it yesterday, but I do think that they will try to flip Mecole Hardman. Would not surprise me if it's a pick swap, like a 6th and 7th round pick swap, or it could be just, a late day 3 pick of some kind. Again, I don't really think it's going to work here, which is unfortunate. He's an explosive player. I kind of like the signing for him to be the Braxton Berrios replacement and to be that gadget guy, and for whatever reason, it hasn't worked. Xavier Gipson's kind of been someone that they really like a lot, so it's going to be Gipson who gets a lot of the run here. Robert Saleh was asked about Lyle Collins, and he said that every week we have an offensive line workout. It's standard procedure. As far as where it stands, that's a Joe question, and that's a typical Saleh answer, and not one that is unfair. It is true they do that every week. They have offensive linemen work out, and they like to rotate their offensive linemen, like the practice squad level guys, in and out. And the Jets did make a signing today, and I don't necessarily think it means that it totally rules them out of Lyle Collins if that's the direction that they want to go. But they did add Dennis Kelly to the practice squad. He spent the summer with Philly, so this could be like, hey, let's get this guy in here and see what he's got on Philly before we play them on Sunday. But also, he has been okay the last couple of years. He's been a spot starter in 2022 with Indianapolis, 2021 with the Green Bay Packers. So there's a Nathaniel Hackett connection. There's a connection back to the Eagles with Joe Douglas. That's where he was drafted and then bounced around the league a little bit, ended up back there this past summer. But he was a starter in 2020 for the Tennessee Titans at right tackle and actually played pretty well in 16 games. Was he a stud? No, he wasn't, but he was solid enough. 2 penalties, 26 pressures, no sacks allowed. All things considered for a replacement level tackle, like that's solid. And, he was okay filling in at both left tackle and right tackle. He has the flexibility to play either side each of the last 2 years for Indianapolis and the Green Bay Packers. I think that they're going to give Obviously, Max Mitchell, a little bit of a run here this week. They go into a bye. If we are going to see a change, we could see an ad like Lyle Collins, and maybe they use that 2-week period to ramp them up and try to get him going in the right direction. With no game, and they got to get him up to game speed after missing a lot of time after his injury. He suffered an ACL in December, so we'll see if they make any other additions, but don't mind the Dennis Kelly signing. I actually think that's a pretty good one. And last but certainly not least, Robert Saleh was asked about the tush push.
The reality is they're really good at it. It feels like the quarterback is wearing a bulletproof vest when you look at him. He's got all that padding on, but whether they get it, we're going to do our best to try to stop it. And the quarterback's got they do a lot of stuff off it too. They got reverses, they got pop passes, they got stretch plays. They do a lot. So you got to be sound, you got to be disciplined. So we'll do our best in that regard. But if the quarterback carries the ball, we got to give him 11 kisses and just figure out a way to do that. So
really good line.
If the quarterback carries the ball, we got to give him 11 kisses, meaning they got to get all 11 guys trying down there to make a play. And that's going to be a storyline this whole week, the tush push, and I am fine with it. I don't want them to ban it. I think they just do it better than everyone else. We've seen other teams around the league try it and not have that same success rate. The Philadelphia Eagles built up a phenomenal offensive line, and they have a quarterback who squats 600 pounds. It's up to the defense to figure out how to stop it. You can't outlaw it because it works so well for one team, but other teams don't figure it out. That'd be like if they outlawed the Wildcat in 2008 because the Miami Dolphins did it so much better than any other team. It's stupid. Football is all about finding advantages to beat an opponent, and it's a legal advantage. It's not an illegal formation. Like you are able to do it. They just have a Hall of Fame center, a great offensive line, and a hell of a strong quarterback who can run the football like the best of them. And that's something that Robert Saleh spoke about. I think they're going to have to be really aggressive. And I think and hope, and certainly hope, especially after the last 2 weeks with Patrick Mahomes and with Russell Wilson in this game, I hope that they are going to run a spy on Jalen Hurts because he is someone who could absolutely crush you with his legs. That's how good he is at extending plays and tucking it and running when something's not there. So that's the biggest storylines from today. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Please make sure to give a like before you go. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time.